In this video, we are carrying on our leader stroke affiliation breakdown, and you guys voted for it, so it's time to take a look at the all-new, most definitely not ballerina of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil Matt Murdock with his Marvel Knights leadership. Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Yes, we're carrying on with these affiliation stroke leadership breakdowns. We put some options out there for you, and I think with a very, very large percentage of people wanted to see our thoughts on the brand new Defenders leadership Marvel Knights that comes with the newly revamped Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock. And to join me to go through this, as always, is Mr. Quinn Duggan. Quinn, how the hell are you doing, sir?
Me, I'm cold, I'm tired.
We're both wearing hoodies because it's cold, isn't it?
Also, you say he's not the ballerina of Hell's Kitchen anymore. He is. The model is identical.
He still is, yeah.
Ballerinas can kick ass. Like, we've got that Ana de Armas project coming out for the John Wick universe.
This is true.
We're going to kill people in that.
This ballerina has some moves, Quinn.
Yeah.
It has some moves. I mean, we've broken down Matt Murdock's full card before, or Daredevil's full card before. And just to clarify for everyone, this is the original version of Matt Murdock, but with his updated card. It is not the Shadowlands Daredevil one. He's completely different. That's Criminal Syndicate. But we did get a 4-threat leader for the Defenders. And whilst, Quinn, I don't think it fixes all the problems that Defenders had, they had some characters that got glow-ups as well, which is, obviously lifts their affiliation anyway, doesn't it, just generally across the board. But just having an alternative leader for the Defenders is really, really good, especially when you had the Sorcerer Supreme version of Doctor Strange was a Defender, but the only leader was Doctor Strange, meaning that you couldn't actually play the Defenders leadership with the new Doctor Strange, could you?
I mean, in my heart, there's still only one Defenders leader, and it is the OG Strange. But
I think Matt brings some.
I think he's great, but equally
tasty stuff with him.
You can't tear me away from Strange.
I mean, you and Ron actually, don't you? You boys, you are absolute fanboys of Doctor Strange. Without a gem, by the way, people. There is no need to take a gem on Strange. He's perfectly serviceable as a 5-threat. Don't need him to be a 6-threat. But we're not here to talk about Strange, or not yet anyway. We're here to talk about Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and particularly, Quinn, that Marvel Knights leadership that he has. And we're starting to see this, aren't we, where we've seen it with Sinister Six, we've now seen it with Marvel Knights. What they're doing, I think we saw it with Murdock as well, the Crimson leader. Did he have AIM? Was his leadership something along those lines? Yeah. So we're kind of getting these affiliations that we know and love from the comics and wherever else, but they are falling under the sort of affiliations that we already have. So, it's just the name of their leadership as opposed to a brand new leadership itself. Obviously Marvel Knights, very, very big in the comics. We haven't really seen too much of them in any sort of live action media. I think what's Jon Snow's character called from the Eternals movie? Black Knight, yeah, there we go. So he's around and stuff, but it is under the Defenders. But
they were leading up to it with the Moon Knight series, Black Knight being in Eternals, the little bit of blade we had in the cutscene.
We got the voiceover from Mahershala Ali, didn't we, as well? But that movie's being kicked into oblivion now from everything I can tell. But actually, speaking of that as well, I read, very sadly actually, that they are going back to the drawing board with the Born Again series.
You say sadly, with the quality of most of the Marvel TV shows, I'm quite glad.
Don't get me wrong, I would rather them do it right, because that was such a good series, wasn't it? The original Daredevil on Netflix, that should have been the benchmark that Marvel looked at. But I mean, we won't get into that. Probably could do a whole video on how they messed that up, but back under the guidance of Feige now, so that's all good. Let's have a look then, Quinn, at this Marvel Knights leadership. Once per turn, an allied character may re-roll a number of its attack dice equal to the number of enemy characters within 2 of itself. Couple of things to point out about that. It doesn't say non-dazed, so dazed characters do count. And it doesn't say non-grunt. So grunts are going to count in there as well. And with that, Quinn, with the leadership being dependent on being up close and personal, I feel like that really leads into the type of characters that Daredevil wants to take with him. You know, it's not a backline shooty thing, but also, probably more importantly, the shape of the maps that he wants to take as well. Down the middle feels like it's where he wants to be. Gamma Wave is probably his favourite. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he wants to play on the maps that all, good people want to play on.
In the middle, have a fight. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you know how we lost A maps during the Crisis update?
Yes.
Can we lose D maps as well?
I don't mind a D map. Yeah,
that's just you're some sort of freak of nature.
No, but I like playing my Ghost Riders, don't I, to get them extra power on. In fact, I like 1D map. There we go. I like 1D map. But yeah, anything else, Quinn, in terms of the sort of, obviously we're going to go through all the characters, and then in the next video we'll go through the the tactics cards as well. But just in terms of the types of scenarios and the sort of general things that you're looking at, anything else to add there with these guys?
I think he's probably quite a big fan of intrusions, because you can just pop up in the middle of a bunch of enemies from another side of the board.
Yeah.
Sort of get that alpha strike in that maybe your opponent wasn't expecting.
That's fair. It's also worth noting as well, isn't it, that it is once per turn, but that is not just once per your turn, it is once per turn. So, for example, Daredevil himself has the Man Without Fear, so he would get to do those rerolls on that clap back that he does, doesn't he? Because you can use it both in your opponent's and in your turn as well. Without further ado, Quinn, let's jump over and let's take a look at the tier list. As we mentioned, we're going to go through each of the characters today. They are not the characters. These are the characters. There we go. We'll go through A through to Z in the normal order. This is an S through to D tier list. Standard Japanese ranking. Everyone in the world loves them, Quinn, apart from...
That one guy.
Who is racist, Quinn, as we've discussed.
Yeah, he just hates Japan.
We probably don't. He probably isn't, and we don't even. No. I don't even know who it is anymore.
I remember his name, but I feel like he's grown into more of a myth beyond his own existence.
Excellent. So, as we always do with these guys, S through to D. S tier is going to be utterly exceptional. You are going to be wanting to take them in most situations. There's always going to be niches, Quinn, isn't there, where they're just not the right one to take, whether it's because of threat levels or anything else. But if you can take them and they fit, you're probably going to be wanting to take them. A is just really good, solid character. Probably always make your roster, may not always make your squad, but again, there may be a reason for that why you can't take them. B, middle of the road, guys. B is perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable character. C is still a perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable character, but it may just be that there's something that just doesn't quite get them into B. Often that could be another character, often at the same threat level, who just does that job better. Or, in particular, because we are looking purely at the Marvel Knights leadership, they may not just fit particularly well under Matt Murdock. And then lastly is D. These are characters that we're saying really don't bring much in terms of play style, in terms of what they do in the game. Probably a nomination for a character with a little glow up, Quinn, or just really don't work with what Daredevil Matt Murdock is bringing. So, Quinn, starting out, we get to talk about a character who I think has gone up in value a huge amount with just those little tweaks that he had. Amazing Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker. He brings, first of all, he brings some very nice extract play. He is able to get into the middle of the board. One of only two characters, Quinn, I still think, on that medium base long move, who can walk up, get a middle objective, and then come back. And why that's important is safety. You know, if you pull something like cubes or paranoia or something like that, where you've got to go to the middle of the board to pick up the objectives, and you're facing down some big characters like a, you know, Cosmic Ghost Rider, a Thanos, those sorts of characters who can maybe not clap you round one, but can move up and bring you back into their side of the board. That's kind of what you want to avoid. Spider-Man does a really, really good job of that. He also brings a huge amount of survivability for his team, doesn't he, with witty banter. And giving him the rerolls on his offensive stuff is really nice for the catch trigger, for the momentum trigger. I really like him. Me and you have played him out of affiliation quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. What's your thoughts, Quinn, and where do you think he should sit?
I think specifically with regard to the Marvel Knights leadership, giving him that instance of rerolls on his turn sort of it just rounds out the consistency of the character, because that's kind of what ASM is, right? He's just very, very consistent defensively. You know, he's consistently fast, even if he's got a slow on him. He's got that web swing place. He's good for the safe extract play, but also my favourite use for him, really, is just witty banter to stop your opponent getting triggers. Yeah. Like, when people are rolling that one while they need, and just go, no, do it again. Like, or...
Especially, it just feels like the value of it feels, for whatever reason, I think probably because of Scott, right? You've got Scott giving people power, allowing them to do more early.
New Steve as well.
You've got new Steve as well that lets you do stuff. I think the value of changing your opponent's die results is all of a sudden the value of that has gone up, I think. So I really, really like him. Where does he sit for you, Quinn? Under Matt Murdock, Daredevil, under the Defenders' leadership?
For me, he isn't quite S tier, because there are instances where you're not going to play him simply because you're on like a researcher, or you know, points don't allow. He is a 5. You know, he's expensive, or you just don't need that safe extract play. So for me, he's in like high A. Like you very often considering him as your primary 5, I think.
100%.
You know, you don't always have room.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well, I think what he doesn't bring is a really good tactics card. And I think that, that could have bumped him up. Yeah, but it's not, I don't know. It's okay. Well, we'll get onto that in the next video. Next up, Quinn, some Mystic attacks here with the Ancient One, also known as the Ancient One. I still don't like they went with Tilda Swinton's version of this rather than the comic book version.
Swinton's one.
Do you think? Oh, I want the old.
I'm just really glad
guy.
That they gave the model the option to have the hood up.
That is true. Yeah,
like the Tilda Swinton version with the hood up is super cool.
It's a nice model. I've seen some awesome. I don't know if you ever saw the one, Quinn. I'll get some bases here to try and do it, but there was the guy who
one where like they're standing
made the bases like sideways
like
up. That was very good, very, very good indeed. Ancient One's a character, Quinn, that I don't know why, for whatever reason, but you look at a card and you think she's got a lot. She does a lot, right? Shards of the Seraphim, range 2, 5 dice with a pierce is nice. You've got your guaranteed power with Fangs of Faralar. You know me, I always like, I love characters with two builders because it just gives you the option. Astral Strike is not bad. I think one of my problems with her is that she needs to be up close and personal.
She's got 2 physical.
She has 2 physical defense. And yes, she's got martial artist, but
it's not enough.
It's really not enough, is it? And, guess what martial artist doesn't work on Quinn? Shit being thrown at you. Whether it's a building or another character. So for me, that's where she's always lacked a little bit. even just giving her an extra dice during, you know, doing dodge rolls or something like that. But yeah, thoughts on her and, you know, what she
Um,
does and what she can bring.
she's an interesting piece. Like I've not really seen her played in Defenders much. It's typically Convocation. Um, and even there, she's overshadowed by Voodoo. But yeah, she just needs to be bumped up to like 3 physical, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you give her 3 physical and then change Winds of Watum to like rather than her pulling people in towards her, be her like knocking terrain out of the way as it comes to hit her, and like giving her effectively a built-in brace like Emma. Still keeping it at that 3 cost if you really want to, because she's generating 2 each like turn.
Yeah, she generates 2 per turn, doesn't
Suddenly,
she? So
so much better. Like
yeah, I mean, she does have those dodge rolls, but even then, it's like, you know, you roll one fail, and all of a sudden, you know, you unless you
you
get a
know,
crit with the other one, you're maxing out even with the re rolls.
yeah. And especially against like teams that can do like multiple throws a turn into it and things like that, she just melts. With regard to the actual Marvel Knights leadership and stuff, getting the rerolls to try and fish for that pierce on the like main builder is pretty nice. You can also push through a lot of damage on the Astral Strike because it's got the anti-crit stuff.
It does, yep, yep. And she gets a stagger off it as well if it does
Yeah,
damage,
yeah.
which you know,
You'd
eight
hope on 8 dice with no crits.
8 dice, especially if you're getting some re-rolls right from Marvel Knights, you'd expect there. I think for me, Quinn, and I'll give my one first, and I will come back to you in a second before I give it actually, but I think for me, she needs a little tweak. I think, as you say, one extra physical, and I think she'd be fine. One extra physical, and the ability to, you know, to block collision damage, she'd be pretty darn good. I know where I'd like to put her, but before I do, Quinn, can I have an A for Spider-Man, please?
Amazing.
Perfect. I mean, we knew what it was, but, you know, we're just like there. So for me, Quinn, I think she's playable. You know, I think she's playable, but I think you need some protection for her. And there are a couple of characters in here that can do that. But for me, she is overshadowed by some other 4 threats. And because of that, I would put her into a C tier.
Yeah, I agree with the C tier. Like you want her to be good, but she just kind of sits there and doesn't do a great deal. Like I don't know, she's got no displacement effects. Like she needs to be really killy if that's what they're going for with her, and it seems like they are.
Yeah,
And like you can't be super killy if you're just dead.
true. True story. True story. And Sequin is for
Can't have hair.
can't have hair. Perfect.
Look, I'm reaching, right? I admit
You
it.
are.
But go
That
on.
is the bottom of the barrel there, I think. Next up, Quinn, Eric Brooks, aka Blade, a character I think we all love as a character, right? I've never met anyone who goes, yeah, I don't really care about Blade.
I feel like you've met racists before.
But he's definitely not, you know, represented particularly well
No.
in
And it's
Marvel.
annoying because he's probably my favourite British like Marvel hero.
Yeah,
Because he
you
was
know,
born in London for all the Americans that don't know.
he was born in London. Yes,
Victorian London to be specific.
ignore the movies. The movies are wrong. He's
Yeah.
been around for years. Look, and he's a cool character, right? He's a half vampire. Like he's
Yeah,
a
he's
dude.
a vampire. Like he's
he's
super cool.
he's pretty cool. Look, he's had some extra little things given to him. He still struggles.
Yeah.
You know, yes, he's got a little bit more movement now. The 3 Mystic, sorry, the 3 Energy still. I don't know why, but they just seem to really hurt him.
It's
He's
just
an
Guardians are a thing in the meta, and like they will be for quite some time. It's the same problem that M'Baku has, like being 2 energy. Like
yeah,
it's a very hard sell in a lot of matchups.
yeah. I think it is. I think it is. So, yeah. Look, he's okay. Like, you know, he's. You're really never going to see him outside of Midnight Suns, Quinn.
No.
And the only reason you're never seeing him outside of there, or sorry, the only reason you're seeing him inside there is because he has a very good leadership.
Yeah, and that leadership actually does a lot to help him as a
It
character as
does.
well. It's not just that it's good for everyone else.
Yeah, it really, really does.
Like that
Doesn't
bit
it?
of added mobility just helps him so much because he has basically none. I know they gave him pursuit on the glaive, but
Yeah, it's still not.
no, it's not enough.
It's
Like,
still not great. He's a vampire man. Like, I wouldn't have been sad with him having a long move at
yeah, or like
all.
I'd be happy if just every character had charge, but that's just me.
I'd have liked him to have had something though that was a bit
Yeah,
more, a range two place, like cost 3 or something, range 2 place where
like
he gets
cloak of
to
shadows or something like that.
emerge from the darkness and do some extra
Yeah.
damage or something, like just or even a pseudo charge type thing.
Maybe if it had something similar to Psylocke's Psy Empower, like connect whatever her stupid thing is, telekinetic empowered strike,
That's the one.
where
Yeah,
she like pays to gets a short move, gets extra dice on the next attack. Something like that would have been nice for him, just to give him that bit of like, because even in like the pose on the artwork, he's sort of like that. He's
well, and
talking
then
about doing
his
things.
model is like coming down, right?
Yeah.
Like striking from above. Like I don't know. I love his model, by the way. I think his
Oh
model's
yeah, not
awesome. Right, Quinn. Here is the decision. Is he our first entry into Do Not Touch?
I think he is. Like,
I think he has to be, doesn't he?
to be honest, I think like you're in a rough situation where the moment your affiliation gets another leader, you're probably now the secondary leader. Like if it's not even up for contention on what they do, unless they are absolutely abysmal, Elsa Bloodstone is probably going to replace them.
Yeah, or I mean, yeah, Elsa Bloodstone. I'd like to see a Morbius. We've had
Morbius, I think, would be really cool if his.
We've had Dracula confirmed.
Yeah,
I mean that's
if,
pretty
if
cool.
Morbius's ability was just everybody gets healing factor 1, that'd be funny.
Exceptional healing for
Yeah.
yeah, and D Quinn is 4.
Dampier, obviously.
Dampier, obviously. Clear next Quinn, another character that I know you have had not a lot of love for over the years. She's another 3. Well, she is a 3 threat, so the first 3 threat that we've got. Up against some stiff competition. When I'm looking down the 3 threats that we've got on here, stiff competition. Look, she's got some things that will help her, and will benefit from. Icy trend, icy tendrils with all those triggers that she wants to get. Let's ignore the fact, Quinn, that she's the only character in the game that can kill herself from
Why are you ignoring that fact?
From 0 to 5.
You should address.
So she, descendant of the Faultine, gains 3 power, but rolls 5 dice. For each failure, suffers 1 damage. She has 5 stamina, Quinn. She can kill herself. I've only ever seen it being done once, but it is possible.
I've seen it done once, and I believe it was Ron that did it on Convocation release weekend.
Yeah. Here's my other problem with her, Quinn. She is very much, I see, as a ranged character. She doesn't want to be up, she doesn't want to be up close and personal.
Once again, that 2 physical defense, right?
2 physical defense, and at least Ancient One has some defensive tech to try and help with that. Marvel Knight's leadership, you need opponents within range 2.
Yeah.
If your opponents are within range 2 of her, she has a problem.
She's either dazed or not on the table. That's the problem she has.
I don't think she fulfills a good role for them. I'm going to say it, Quinn. I actually think at least Blade wants to be up and in the middle and doing stuff. I think she goes below Blade.
She's actively detrimental in terms of the playstyle. Couple things I'd like to see changed on her. As with most of the Convocation characters, bump them up to 3 physical. Like, it makes a world of difference, and you're not going to break the game by making them 3 physical, because they have Ironbound books anyway. Other thing I'd like to see changed on her is I'd like to see the range on her attacks swapped over. So that her build is 4, her spend is 3.
Makes no sense, does it? Like, why is it like that? Yeah, why is it like that?
And then maybe make Demon Claws a guaranteed one or a builder, sort of like what Iron Man has, where he's got that like fail-safe safety net. Just because
Okay.
you're spending an action to get like 3 power on percent of the faulting, that it just leads to her not doing a lot on her turn.
Yeah. No, that is fair. That is fair. Does have immune to incinerate, which is,
It's nice, like on demons and stuff, it's there.
means she can't go down to 1 defense dice at least.
Ooh. She can,
yeah,
however, go down to 0 dodge dice against a fastball special.
She can, yes, as we found out. Well, as I found out, even. Dequin is for
Descendant of the Faltine, a title
Perfect.
she is not worthy of.
She is most definitely not worthy of it. On to the first of our 2 Doctor Strangers, and for whatever reason, it's put them this way around. So we're going to start off with Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, Stephen Vincent Strange, another 5-threat Quinn. Quite a different version of Doctor Strange, isn't he? This one is far more, I would say, on the aggressive side.
He's a lot more mobile, isn't he?
And a hell of a lot more mobile. And let's not talk about that mystic armor of Strange, because yes,
yeah.
Things to note actually, Quinn. Marvel Knights leadership, Defenders leadership, is once per turn you can reroll dice on an attack. I think this is the first instance we've seen of a beam or an area attack. And I only want to mention this because somebody messaged me, I think it was on one of the comments actually on a video the other day, talking about empowering attacks and when they work and when they don't work. Doctor Strange, or all area attacks and all beam attacks, they essentially create X number of individual attacks themselves.
As part of an attack action.
As part of an attack action, yeah. So Doctor Strange, for example, if he was to do his Shining Circle of the Seraphim and he had 4 people around him, which is actually not a bad price to pay for 4 7 dice attacks, he would only get to do the rerolls on one of those attacks. He wouldn't get to do the rerolls on each of the attacks.
And just to specify, that's the Marvel Knights reroll, not the Eye of Agamotto.
Not his Eye of Agamotto reroll, yeah, because rerolls do stack in this game, Quinn, don't they? Which is different to some other games.
Yeah,
where
it's quite unique to sort of AMG systems.
Yeah. And I like it. You can re-roll the same dice time and time again. That actually often comes into it, Quinn, doesn't it? Yeah. Whereby, if you get a bad roll, let's say with Strange, you want to re-roll the Eye of Agamotto first and then follow up with the Defender's re-rolls if you need them. You don't want to do the Defender's re-rolls and then re-roll everything. You want to do it the other way around. Generally, Quinn, I would say. If you've got a good result, then that's different. Quick question, Quinn. Because of Eye of Agamotto, Doctor Strange is allowed to reroll failures, isn't he, using the Marvel Knights?
Because the Eye of Agamotto is just full, like, this character may modify and rerolls fail results, full stop.
Yeah, full stop. So can be very, very powerful on him. He has lots of triggers that he wants to get off. He's got a pierce on his bolts. Again, that Shining Circle of the Seraphim does a lot. Especially with the salve, right? That can, if you get that attack off 2 or 3 times, that can be absolutely brutal doing that much healing. And we know healing is at a premium. Mystic Armor of Strange is obviously very, very good. He is a 5-threat though, Quinn, and he's coming up against quite a few, or 3 other 5 threats, 4 other 5 threats in this list. They are quite top-heavy defenders.
Yeah.
What do you think about him? Where do you think he sits? Where do you think he should be in the list?
He's really good. He's not my preferred version of Strange. Never has been. Likely never will. He's really good. I think he leans quite heavily into the sort of Marvel Knights playstyle. Yep. He gives you a pretty tanky brawler character. He's got more of an output than ASM, for example, but obviously he's got less in terms of objective play and arguably less defensively because he's only 3 physical.
You can take an eyes on the. There is some nice eyes on
You
the
can do an
prize
eyes
play
on the
with him.
prize, but like you can just do the same with ASM and not burn a card. You know.
But ASM can only pick up one, whereas Strange can pick up two.
I
Or
always think putting like two hammers on Strange is a mistake, but that's me.
no, but it's not just that, is it? He can also flip a point if he gets that extra power, so he's got a little
Yeah,
bit more that he can do with it.
yeah. I think if you've got a way to give him an extra power round one as well, that scalpel early doors, just like getting him into the mix, can be
Oh yeah,
really brutal.
absolutely, absolutely. So what do you think then, Quinn? Where does he sit for you in terms of characters specifically under Marvel Knight's leadership?
But for me, he's hovering somewhere between A and B, and I'm not entirely sure where he goes within those two brackets. You know, like I think he goes under ASM regardless of where he ends up, just
Yeah,
because I really like ASM and the sort of control factor of limiting wall triggers and things like that. It can be very, very pivotal throughout the course of the game, depending on the opponent's team.
yeah, I do like him. I think he does shine under Marvel Knight. I do agree. I think ASM is, again, it's always going to be situational, isn't it? Which one's the
Yeah,
better choice? But I think overall, ASM is still the better choice. I think he still does enough for me, Quinn, to make it here, just under ASM.
yeah,
There may be some other characters that go in between them two, and it may be that Strange, sees himself further down that list of A tier. But I think he does enough, and I think he benefits enough from that leadership to make it
yeah.
worthwhile taking him. Okay, then Quinn. Next up
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
is.
whoa.
Oh, go on. Sorry, can I have an A, please, for
A
Sorcerer
is for
Supreme?
armored specifically against Guardians.
Yeah, he really is, isn't he? He really, really is. Next up, then, Quinn, the OG Doctor
The
Strange,
real Doctor Strange.
the
Yeah.
real Doctor Strange, as you like to call him. Look, he brings some really nice stuff. He has got character control from his bolts of bedevilment, which, bearing in mind it's an omnidirectional push, when you are wanting characters to be surrounded by other characters to get all of those extra rerolls, that is quite nice.
Yep.
Crimson Bands, giving out at the least a stagger, often an activated token, especially when you've got rerolls. Double reroll because I have Agamotto, and then your own
I think if you
rerolls.
add a single die reroll to that attack, the odds of it triggering Mystic Binding become over 50%.
Yeah. Oster's Refuge, just keeping people alive, not to be underestimated. And then
He's med
also,
pack on a stick.
yeah, and again, healing is at a premium. Also, Quinn, still my favourite named ability in all of Marvel Crisis Protocol, Hoggoth's Hoary Wisdom.
No, say it like a wizard.
Hoggoth's Hoary Wisdom! For 2 power, 2 extra dice. Very, very good. Very, very good indeed. Especially when you couple that with, not that you often would couple it with ASM, but if you do have the threat level, we've seen what it's like when you stack these defensive capabilities and all of a sudden characters become very, very difficult to take down.
I've been playing a lot of Cable as of late, who has a similar buffing ability, and it comes in real clutch, especially with the likes of Wolverine, who have 2 Mystic, and maybe we'll get onto that later.
Yeah. Decent power generation, Quinn, whilst he's not getting any extra power at the beginning of the power phase like his counterpart or like his doppelganger even. Because of those shields, he's getting good power throughout the game. So yeah, I like him. He's solid. For me, I don't believe he sits as well under Marvel Knights as his newer version, Sorcerer Supreme, does. But I will let you have your say, because I know you have an affinity to this character, Quinn.
Oh yeah, like still one of my favorite models in the game in terms of the actual model. Like when I first saw that revealed, like with him on the ring doing like the weird hand thing, pretty cool. Weirdly, I've just noticed on his card art that he doesn't actually have his gloves on, and it
It
looks
doesn't have the
really
gloves.
weird. I don't
Yeah.
like it. But with regards to the leadership, it, he's not as good under it as other Strange, but he can still find use in it. Like with regard to Crimson Bands, right? As I
Oh,
said, you
100%.
put in a
Yeah.
single die reroll on that, odds jump up to around 51%, I want to say. I think if you put in two, it becomes like 64 or something silly.
Yeah, it's
And like,
crazy, isn't it?
he can re-roll skulls, just like the other Strange. Mystic Binding can be an absolutely game-changing ability if you get it off, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly that Immortal Hulk isn't activating, or,
Oh,
whatever else.
Cosmic Ghost Rider, you're not having a go this
Cosmic
turn.
Ghost Rider, how about no?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, also, it's got the stagger there if you do manage to mess it up. I think that Strange's placement on this list is very much dependent on your roster construction and what you're planning. And I know that's not what we're really here for because we're doing Marble Knights specifically. But if you're planning on running Marble Knights and the Mystic Empowerment leadership, I think you obviously go with this Stranger over the other one because I don't think you take both in a roster. Like, under any circumstances, unless you're playing combo.
Yeah, taking up 2 slots with 2 5-threat characters
It's rough.
is very rough, isn't it? Who would ever do that? But
Well, you wouldn't because you just take a 6-threat instead.
I do take a 6 right now instead. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think we do have to hone in and say we have to almost ignore his leadership because we are just talking about under Daredevil himself. And I think for me, Quinn, and you might not like this, but with that in mind, I think he goes about here. And I know that's going to...
One more counter argument.
Okay.
Hoggothori Wisdom is really good on Daredevil.
It is really good on Daredevil. It is
6
really
dice
good
physical
on Daredevil.
carrying blanks is pretty damn good.
It is.
So maybe we bump him up into the bottom of 80. Who knows?
I think let's put him here
Let's
for
put
the
some
moment.
respect on his name, all right? He's the Sorcerer Supreme, but not that one.
Yeah, okay. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
And A is Agamotto.
Of course, absolutely. Oh, Electra.
Do we have to bother with this one?
Electra Nachos. Yes, she's had a little extra thing. She brings some grunts. But
she now gets a power on her throwing blades. I think that's all she does
power
now.
on her throwing blades. Look, she's okay. Like, you can play her. She does have some she does have synergy with leadership. She's got a pierce. Weird, like a range 1 attack is just very, very strange. It does turn off crit results as well, but she just struggles for power generally.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I'd like to see changed on this character. Like, I'd like it to be a long move, for instance. There's no reason why she can't keep up with Daredevil. I know it's not the Daredevil she comes in a pack with, but it's still, the Daredevil she's most commonly associated with.
Yeah.
Also, make Impale range 2, bump it up to 6 power, and then make her actual builder a builder, not just a flat gainer.
Yep.
Like, that's all she needs, most likely. Like, just more power efficiency and make her a bit faster and make Impale not a silly attack.
I think we've said it before, Quinn, haven't we? Most characters are only ever a couple of tweaks here and there away from being perfectly good or really good.
And it feels like, the little tweak they gave her in this instance just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah. I mean, her hand ninjas are not really going to benefit from... Oh, actually, let's go back and take a quick look. Is it once per turn a character? Once per turn, an allied character may reroll. Yeah, so if you use it on...
You get one instance of it.
Yeah, so if you use it on the hand ninjas, you don't get to use it on her, basically. I also think, Quinn, there's a lot to say about, grunts and what they bring to the game right now in terms of priority.
Yeah.
Because you do count them for priority. And giving your opponent either a free pass or a character that, you know, means that you don't have priority, is something to bear in mind.
Yeah, you can have a lot of interesting implications with that. Also, specifically with the ninjas, they can pick up extracts and then kill themselves to give them away.
They can,
Like,
yes,
just
yeah,
going, hey Daredevil, have this home hammer on you from the start of the game before you move.
for free without spending
Yeah.
any power to do it as well. So I think
Wait,
there is
wait,
some.
people spend power to pick up objectives.
All right,
Is
X-Men.
this some sort of non-X-Men joke for Rich to understand?
So I think she brings a little bit more, Quinn, than Blade and Clear. To, you know, I think she
I
fits
would
in.
agree with that as much as it irritates me.
So for me, I think she probably goes down the bottom end of C.
Her
rather
one power
than
gain has bumped her from D to C, but the bottom of C.
the bottom of C. Yes, absolutely, Quinn. And C is for
Can't outrun Daredevil.
can't outrun Daredevil. I like it. I like it. Oh, Quinn. Jonathan next. Jonathan Blaze, aka Ghost Rider. Now, let me preface this with most people will be aware of my affinity for Ghost Rider. Some call him my crutch rider. I've now seen him being elevated to wheelchair rider.
Because you got two of them now. One
I
on
guess
each
I got
side.
two of them, yeah.
I know they've got a joint sidecar on either side of their thing that you get to sit in the middle of.
Ghost Rider is a very, very, very good character.
A little bit too good, wouldn't you agree, Rich?
I would say that he's perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to throw this out there, Quinn. I do not think he is a good defender.
I don't think he's ever been a good defender.
I think, and we said it in the last video, that's bait. I don't think
Defenders
it's...
can't go wide enough, right?
Yeah, it's not his home. At 5 threat, you want to be taking at least 3 other characters with him. Defenders cannot do that effectively. So I don't think he is a very good character for them. Yes, he can he benefits from it. With his chains of damnation, it means that he's going to get his hex out more often. Yes, rerolls are always nice on a penance there or something like that. We know how effective rerolls are for him under Guardians, but I just don't think he is. I think he's still playable, Quinn, but I think of all of the other 5 threats that we've got on this list, I would say he's probably my least favourite choice for being a defender, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, rerolls do add something to him, but they add something to pretty much every character.
Absolutely, yeah. But he's not fishing for lots of things, is he? Right? It's not like
he's looking for a hex or looking to do damage. Like, that's it.
Yeah. So for me, Quinn, and I'm willing to do this. So unlike you with Stranger Boy over here.
Yeah, because I have actual loyalty, unlike some people.
I'm going to put him to the top of it, but I think he's C tier. I think there are much better options at the same threat level than Jonathan. Look, if he's the only 5 threat you've got that you own, put him in. Right, have some fun with him.
He'll still do work. Like
he'll still do work. Yeah, but in an optimal list, I don't think he is the one. If I'm being brutally honest. Any disagreement there, Quinn?
No, I'm getting to watch you talk shit about Ghost Rider. I'm loving this.
I'm not talking shit about him. He's still very good. He's still very, very good. But yeah, he just doesn't. He also doesn't have multiple characters for his deal with the devil either, which is the other thing, right? Like, do you really want to be taking out a 4 threat or maybe a 3 threat, but the 3 threats do work. Whereas in Defenders, you've got a rocket or you've got a
in Guardians,
a Nebula. Yeah. Sorry, in Guardians. Sorry, you've got other options for him.
You've got Rocket, Nebula, Groot.
Yeah, like Drax even, right? I just don't think he is. I don't think he's the right option for defenders.
I
There,
think that's fair.
I said it. I said
Good.
it. C is for
Chains.
Chains of Damnation. Let's give it its full title.
No, just chains.
Wow. Don't disrespect him like this.
Oh, I'm going to disrespect him as much as I physically can.
On to our second 3 threat, I think. I think this is only the second one that we've had so far. Hawkeye, a.k.a. Clinton Barton. Look, Quinn, by no means a bad defender. I just don't think a good defender under under Daredevil. He is a backpoint holder with a range 5 attack.
He is there to pay 1 to make his arrows mystic and give people hex. Like, that's what he does in Defenders. This is not that kind of Defenders.
Yeah. Again, you know, even though he can't benefit from the leadership, he can still do some work. But really, he's not the right choice, is he, for a Defenders list? Where do you think he goes?
For specifically Daredevil Defenders, he's probably down in D. Like, there's nothing for the leadership. There are much better 3s than him available. And also, he's just a bit boring, isn't he?
He is a bit boring.
Like, he's not got a spender. Like, you know, he's just sort of there. Like, maybe you take him if you run into, like, scoundrels or something, and his, like, cover ignoring actually comes into effect, but...
Are you ever going to have him in your roster, though, to be there to play?
Thing, right?
Like, probably not. And, let's be honest, Quinn, right? Marvel Knights want to be up close and personal. They want to be up in somebody's face and slapping them, not on a back point trying to shoot in, doing some damage. Unfortunately, I think he probably is there. I put him below clear, but I think
him above fucking clear. Geez.
I was just going to say, I think he probably goes more there. And
D is for deaf.
Deaf, yes. Old Man Logan, for those that don't know. Okay, Quinn. On to the big hitters now. We've had some 5 threats. Let's throw your boy in here. Hulk, aka Bruce Banner. This is the OG version of Hulk. 6 threat, 20 stamina, no days side.
The only respectable form of Hulk.
The other respectable form of Hulk, yeah. Look, does he like some rerolls? Yep, he does. It rounds him out a bit like ASM, in that he's already got the defensive rerolls. Now he has some offensive rerolls. I always feel like Hulk struggles when you don't get that extra power onto him early. To be able to, do a Gamma Leap and the strongest one there is, and only needing 1 power from a strike or something like that.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. He goes into the middle of the board. There's let's say 2 people there, because I think 3's a stretch. Throwing 7 dice into one of them with 2 rerolls, you've got very good odds of getting at least 2 power, maybe even getting that push as well. And suddenly you go, that one's off the point, or bam,
yeet.
Now he's cleared the point, right? Like, people tend to try and gang up on Hulk and take him down with just mass numbers. That's exactly what he wants in a Marvel Knights team.
That is fair. And he does have triggers that he wants to fish for.
Also, what I would give for rerolls on a Hulk smash. Oh. The amount of times I have done that attack and never rolled the wild.
Do you know what, Quinn? You get them under Marvel Knights. You get them.
What? Whoa!
You can have them. Do you know what, Quinn? You can have them rerolls from me to you.
Wow, thanks, Rich. It's like Christmas.
It is like Christmas.
There's a jolly fat man here.
Look, he's never a bad option, is he, to put in your roster? He's because going tall is never a bad thing. If you're on a map, a researcher or a gamma, and you're at 15 or 16, having the option to take a character less and manipulate priority is often a good thing to be able to do.
Yeah,
and Hulk
being
lets you do
enough just lets you go, oh, hey, you've got 2 characters more than me. Cool, I get to kill 1 with impunity every round.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. So I think he's got a place. I do like ways of getting extra power onto him, but that's just me. What are your thoughts, Quinn, on where he sits in terms of how often are we going to be taking him? Where does he fit? And then also where on the tier list he makes.
I think because of how Marvel Knights works, and how, as we mentioned in the beginning of the video, they are big fans of, crises like Gamma, like demons, like intrusions. Those are all very much things that Hulk wants to play.
All very much things that he
Like,
wants to play, aren't they?
yeah, I feel like, I mean, and we all know that I am a very big Hulk player. Like, my sort of big breakout list early on was double Hulk after the first round of changes.
Love some double hulking.
Love a
don't
bit
you?
of double Hulk, and then transitioned into just normal Avengers after they changed Researcher. Um, yeah, like he's just really good, and I think because of that, I want to put him in S.
It's hard to
I think
not put Hulk in an S.
if you've got the chance to take him and you're on like the crises that you want to be playing, there's no reason not to, in my mind.
Yeah, it's hard to not put him in S tier, isn't it? Just with what he does. Because
Yeah,
he's all very, even with, and this is what we often say, Quinn, isn't it? Is that once you're getting into the 5, 6, 7, 8 threat characters, they should be completely independent. They should be a menace on the board without relying on anything else to turn them on, to let them do the things they want to do.
yeah. You want the rest of your team to like serve as an amplifier, not an actual like setup, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Hulk does that. Hulk is,
Yeah.
getting that 2 extra power. Yes, if you get an extra power onto him, he just gets even better. Yes, if you give him rerolls, he gets even better.
If you
But
give him a superpower discount and happen to have Avengers Assemble, he's even
he
better,
gets
better,
really
better,
good.
better,
Yeah.
better.
And who knows? Like, we don't have one thing that we'll see in the tactics card video is that we don't have many for defenders. We have one. But there could be cards out there that help him even more as well. A lower cost leader than the 4, could be something that he helps him out even more as well. We are talking about this just now, but he's very, very good. He causes, if nothing else, a distraction for your opponents because
Yeah, 20
unlike
health to
some
shoot through.
yeah, unlike some other characters who you can ignore, right? The way you deal with them is take everybody else out around them and ignore that character. I don't often feel like you can with Hulk. Because even if he's the only one left, he still has it in him
He happens to
to.
be the strongest one there is.
So yeah, I have absolutely no problem with S tier. Quinn, an
Well,
S is
I
4.
literally just said it.
You just said
Strongest
it,
one
didn't
there
you?
is.
You did just say it. Um, can you give this next man his full title, please, Quinn?
Danny Rand, the Immortal Iron Fist of Kunlun.
Yep. 3 threat. Has some okay stuff.
Yeah.
I often feel like he's just sat there waiting to get 8 power and do 1 Iron Fist.
Yeah, like, he
And that's
doesn't do much
kind
else
of
otherwise, does he?
his shtick.
Yeah.
You know, again, some rerolls he benefits from, dishing out stun on his chi strike.
Stun on the cheese strike is nice.
He's a character that wants to be in the mix, Quinn. Especially with Master Martial Artist, he doesn't care as much, does he, about being in the mix, and having characters around
Yeah,
him.
it's kind of where he wants to be. He doesn't want to be like getting plinked at from range, right?
Yeah, has the ability to get within 2 very easily with his
Just the
flying
fly
kick
kick. Yep.
because it's guaranteed as well, right? So it gives you the power and it's a guaranteed range 1 place. Do you know what, Quinn? He's not my favourite character, Danny Rand, but I actually think under Matt Murdock's leadership, I'm not saying he's the greatest character out there, but I actually think he's probably a perfectly serviceable character.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of wish Iron Fist were like the Iron Fist was 8 dice and not 9, because as we all know, 9
is
dice
the worst
is the worst
number.
number in the game.
But
With rerolls, that's
with
more than 9 dice,
rerolls,
and therefore better.
with rerolls, Quinn, it's got some.
Yeah,
Iron Fist is not a bad attack, right? It's
no,
pretty good.
pretty good.
But Yeah, it's got a throw. It's an unlimited throw as well,
Yeah.
which is quite nice.
Like, I
But for
think
me, Quinn,
I don't know.
I
I'd
think
like to
it's
see maybe get like a long move as a bit of a
yeah,
buff.
long
I think
move
that'd
would
be
be nice.
nice.
But then I think his flying kick is kind of there to make up for it,
Yeah,
isn't
like
it?
if you give him a long move as well, you run into like some weird, like really cheap eyes on the prize plays with that two power.
Oh
So like it's a
yes.
hard thing to balance.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've put him in B tier, Quinn. I think
Yeah, I think that's fair.
under Matt Murdock, I think he's perfectly serviceable. Let's not forget he does bring a nice card with him as well, or has the option to bring a nice card with
Yeah,
him, which I think does give him some more value. But yeah, I think he's perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable. B is for
bare chested.
bare chested. Carl Lucas, aka Luke Cage, Quinn, aka
But his
Power
name's
Man.
not Luke, it's Carl.
His name is Carl, isn't
I
it?
feel like it'd be less intimidating if people called him Carl all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's Carl.
Solid character.
Very solid.
Absolutely solid character. Rerolls on Power Man Punch. Do not underestimate a 3-threat staggering somebody with their builder.
Yeah.
It's real good.
He's real
It's
good under
really,
new Steve.
really good. He's
real
very
good
good under
defenders.
new Steve. Probably better under new Steve, I would say.
Yeah, just because you've got more control over it, but
Yeah.
he's still very good with the Daredevil rerolls.
Brings terrain. It's a terrain throw, but still it's a throw. The stagger, Sweet Christmas is not to be sniffed at. Too dangerous to ignore is, again, just stops your opponent hitting the character they want to hit.
It very much
gotta-
fits into the Marvel Knights playstyle as well because he needs to be within two people to do it.
He's got to be within 2, yeah,
And
to do
then,
everything.
he's protecting your other characters that have waded into the melee, who are also going in there to be within 2 of people, right?
Yeah. 4-3-3 reduced by 1 as well, Quinn. Not to be sniffed at either. And also, he is the other half of the Heroes for Hire, so he's also got access to that card. I think he's very, very solid.
I think he's better than Danny.
Oh, he's definitely better than Danny. He's definitely better than Danny. For me, Quinn, I think he threads the needle between the strangers.
I think he actually goes above ASM.
Oh, really?
He's on the very precipice of S. Like, for a 3-threat in affiliation.
Especially with that stagger.
That stagger, he just does everything that Daredevil wants characters to do.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, right? Because he's part of the street level defenders group, right? Like
He
that's
is.
kind of what Daredevil's meant to be representing here, you know?
Yeah. I'm okay with him there, by the way. I was lowballing him and I was thinking like, okay, I can get him above 1 strange. Will he let me put him above 2? But yeah, I think you have to say like, for what he does for a 3-threat as well. Like there's not many other characters on this list that do as much as him. And he's only a 3-threat. So yeah, I like it a lot, Quinn. And A is for
Actually, his name's a bit silly.
you can't just keep using actually as
I mean,
your
I
A's.
can. Who's going to stop me? Also, we've had 1 A tier where I've said that this time.
I know. But that's 2.
I get like 3 or 4 per video, right? But it's hard
Magic.
work. You don't know how much effort I put into this alphabet game, right, Rich? Let's see you come up and do it one day.
It's all you, Quinn. It's all you. Ilyana Rasputin, aka Magic. She's got some nice stuff, Quinn. She can get in there. Soul Sword is a very, very good builder, especially with the Pierce.
Yep.
Doesn't suffer from the same thing that other Convocation-esque characters suffer from, in that she's a 3-3-4. She doesn't have that stupid 2 physical defense.
I mean, that's because she was designed as an X-Men character.
That is true. Yeah. I really like her. I really, really like her.
I think she's real solid. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think she. I think she brings some stuff that you want, right? You want some mystic attacks for cheap, which is which is nice. Limbo Step is really nice. She brings a half decent tactics card with her as well. For me, she's top end of B.
I don't think she quite makes it into A.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gives you a nice, cheap Mystic option, which is something that, Daredevil's defenders are missing.
They are, yeah. They've got a couple of others in there.
But for 3 threat, not really.
But yeah, I think she's solid. I think she'll make a lot of rosters as an alternate, as a 3 threat option. Not a character you're going to be playing every time, but definitely worth taking. And B Quinn is for.
Bolts of Oster.
There we go.
Really easy when it's on the card.
It's really easy, isn't it? Mark Spector next Quinn, aka Moon Knight, another 3 threat. Another character Quinn, another 3 threat character that has a stagger on their builder. A little bit harder to pull off this one. It needs
just because of the sheer volume of dice.
Hit crit
right?
wild, yeah, and it's only 4 dice. But this character may reroll any number of attack dice for this attack. That will again stack with the rerolls that he gets from the defenders. So actually, you look at that and you go, well, actually, 4 dice to get those 3. All of a sudden, your chances are increased. Throwing crescents is not bad.
It's quite nice with the leadership. Like if you need to fish for that hit to get the second attack,
to get the second power as well. Which is nice. And then Avatar of Khonshu, it's pretty decent as for a 3 threat spender. It's Mystic as well, which is nice. He does have the Chosen of Khonshu thing, doesn't he? Where, he adds 2 dice to his defense rolls against Mystic, which is nice. But then he also can't be advanced, pushed, or placed. So it's kind of like a bit of a pseudo Magneto thing going on there. But then you get the absolute utter RNG, which is multiple personalities, which guarantee Aaron will always get the one he needs. You will never get the one you need.
Because before he rolls it, he says what he needs, and then Khonshu manipulates the dice for him.
Yeah, exactly. He does have stealth. Now, I don't think stealth does a huge amount under Marvel,
Yeah,
to benefit.
Not for a Daredevil team. I mean, Daredevil himself has it as well. Like, I guess it keeps you safe before you actually get into engagement range. You can look at it that way.
Yeah,
but
that's
also,
fair.
we said, Hawkeye's not great in the team because you don't really want a back point holder, doesn't really synergize. I think if you're taking a back point holder, it's this guy.
Yeah, because he's got the option, right, to be
he's
able
got, He's got the range for, so he's still, hitting people on the midline from, your back point. And, he's got stealth, so he's just that little bit safer than Hawkeye, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And has Wallcrawler. Not to be sniffed at. Not to be sniffed at. For me, Quinn, I think he's sort of
he's
topping
in that
up
B tier.
the
I think he's
tier,
better than the other two, yeah.
I think he can do some work.
Yeah.
And B is for
batshit insane.
Batshit insane.
You thought I was going to go with both staff, didn't you?
I thought you were going to say bullshit go. That's the one that.
No, because that's random bullshit.
I know it's random bullshit, but then
you can't just say bullshit go. That doesn't make any sense. Ludicrous idea.
Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. Only problem with this guy is he is the newest addition to the Defenders. Only problem with this guy, Quinn, is you can't take him and CGR together. Oh no.
That sounds like a bonus, not a negative.
Yeah, he really needed something extra.
To be honest, I think the biggest change that would have actually helped him is putting him in Midnight Suns. Defenders is not the affiliation he needed to go in.
He'd have been good in Midnight Suns, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Getting off 2 hip fire attacks and getting 2 power.
Yeah, off of the Siege of Darkness is pretty damn good, but alas, no.
We spoke, didn't we, about how you do not want a backline firing line. He is a backline character.
He's range 3 for the most part.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think he works well.
I think, if you had maybe slightly higher dice pools, then, you'd be willing to throw him into the mix to get those rerolls, but he's got no real triggers he wants to get, and if he's doing the aim shot, he's probably the hell out of dodge. Like,
Oh yes, yeah. He's not. You know, he can get the rerolls from dazed characters that are nearby him. So it's not. You know.
I mean, if you chuck like, if you spend all three of your fallen tokens, your punishment tokens, sorry, to bump up that hip fire to 7 dice, you get a few rerolls on that, you could potentially be doing a fair whack of damage.
Yeah. I just think there are better options.
I think there
I think
are.
there, I think there are better options.
I think he goes top of C for me.
Top of C.
Yeah, I think you're more likely to play him than a Ghost Rider.
Yeah, purely just because of the threat level. I think
Yeah, I think so.
Warzone's not to be sniffed at. Like that can
I really
often.
hate that, like that kind of ability. Same with Mythic, that it costs an action.
Yeah, it's such
Like,
a
it
shame,
can
isn't it?
always like you're always like, oh yeah, but then you're like, oh no, I'd rather just do attacks and get power.
It depends if you need to do 2 damage to someone to
Yeah, if you're
guarantee taking them
guaranteed to
out.
kill someone, sure, but like if you're just doing it for chip damage, you just don't bother with it.
Oh no! It's never. It's always a finishing move, right? It's always a finishing move. A little bit like the same with Mystique, same with Sovereign Strike, same with any of these that blow things up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have liked him to have the reactive ability, that Bucky does, because
Oh, yeah, like sort of goblins explode stuff as you come in. That would make a
yeah,
lot more sense for Warzone, I feel.
yeah, I think it would have done.
Because it's like the whole theme of Warzone is him scouting the battlefield beforehand and like placing C4 everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that
Yeah,
that I think that'd do a lot to actually help his character. I also
yeah.
wouldn't mind for physical defense on him. He is Frank Castle.
He is
Like,
Frank fucking Castle. Yeah.
yeah,
Sequin is for
Castle's family are dead.
wow, wow. We
See, I can
went
get away with it if it's brutal.
wow. Okay. Well, let's just take a moment
Tell
there
me they're
and
not rich. Tell me
let's
they're
just
not.
take a moment and remember Frank Castle's family on that merry-go-round, shall we?
I thought the worst thing I was going to say this recording was referring to you as a jolly fat man and the dead silence that happened after it, but no, we
No,
got here.
no, we've lowered the bar. Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, another 5-threat Quinn. Mystic, big mystic attacker,
Yeah.
huge damage output. Hex Bolt and Cruel Twist, big damage. Telekinesis, Chosen of Chthon, meaning that she gets to add failure results in its rolls and total successes. Brings some decent tactics cards with her as well. Judgment, which it can turn characters off, from doing what they do.
Yeah, really good in Strucker Hydra because the heal one off the back of it as well, but that's not what
Absolutely.
we're discussing.
Yeah. I think for me, Quinn, she is an okay 5-threat choice for defenders. I just don't think she's going to shine under Daredevil, and I think she's got three 5-threats and a 6-threat that are kind of standing in her way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are.
It also doesn't help that once again she doesn't want to really be in the mix of things. Like,
Yeah.
3 physical. Yes, she's got Chosen of Chthon, so she's tankier than people first think she is. But yeah, she wants to be doing those hex spots from like range 3 or 4 away. Like when she starts getting surrounded, things start to go wrong for her. I tend to find.
Yeah, and because she doesn't have any sort of big area attack that can potentially take down
Yeah.
multiple characters in a single attack.
She does have some very good cards that I do think like they influence her placement on this list
They do.
because they are very, very good, and defenders do not currently have any real tactic cards.
And that's the thing, right? We're going to be relying, when we do the tactics card video, we're going to be relying on those character-specific tactics cards because there is no defenders cards that you really want to be taking. So for me, Quinn, because of that, because of her overall package, I think she does enough to get into that B tier. Probably somewhere between in and around Magic either side, I think, is probably where she is. I don't know if you have a difference of opinion or...
Yeah, I feel like I'd be more likely to play her than Magic or Danny personally, but yeah.
I feel about there.
Yeah, I think so. Just because of the cards.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I
I think
think
so.
that is fair. And B is
B is for Brotherhood of Evil. Wait, no, she's not a mutant.
she not a mutant? I think she is.
I mean, in like current like comic canon, they had the whole thing where she was like actually not a mutant, not Magneto's kid, right?
She'll always be Magneto's kid for me.
Well,
She'll always
yeah,
be a
same, but
mutant.
also it's still a thing that they did. It was a bit of, legal fuckery to mess with Fox.
Yeah. Oh dear, Quinn. Spider-Man Peter Parker.
Does whatever a spider can, which is get squished.
Yeah. 4 threat. Long move.
Uh,
Web line. Like, just doesn't do
I do
enough.
enjoy how instead of fixing this character, they just made a new one for the core box.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Just not where he needs to be as a character.
No,
At
nowhere
all.
near where he like. I don't even know what. Like, I feel like he would be so much better if Gwen was worse. Because
Yeah.
Gwen just does everything he does, but better for a threat less.
Yeah.
Like,
And he doesn't
yeah,
even have her lifesaver either.
exactly. Like, she
Like,
does it better and is a threat less. Like,
I just,
taser
yeah.
webs are cool, but they're just kind of bad.
I mean, is it? Are they cool?
Give out a stun, 2 power.
I mean, even if it was before damage was dealt, that would have been nicer. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel
just
like in order in order to fix him, you need to nerf Gwen, and the way you nerf Gwen is by making her web line like size 2 only, something like that. Just
really
reducing
though.
that
But
controllability, but like,
I just don't think that's ever going to happen.
I think also make his strike range 3. Like, throw him a bone. Come on, AMG.
Yeah, I mean, how was his strike only range 2?
They gave
Really,
him a stamina like earlier this
they
year.
did give him a stamina. Unfortunately, Peter,
He's below clear in my mind.
I think he probably is the bottom of the bottom,
Yeah,
isn't he? For defenders, and D is
yeah.
for.
Dead uncle.
Wow, I mean, you had that one lined up. The
Oh,
moment
I knew.
you had that one lined up from Frank Castle onward, didn't you?
Yeah, of
That
course
was-
it is.
okay, the Immortal, or as I like to call him, the Lesser Hulk, Bruce Banner.
So you know how Peter Parker like costs more than Gwen, but is worse than Gwen.
Yeah,
Mm.
Immortal Hulk is interesting. Like
It's an
they've,
interesting case study in why you shouldn't make what was a rivals panel into individual characters.
you will always stand by that, won't you?
Yeah, because I know I'm right as per usual.
He does. He does benefit from the leadership,
Yeah, he's got a wild trigger on his builder.
which size 4 throw, which is nice.
Yeah,
And it's omnidirectional, which is nice. He does just keep coming back, which is nice.
it's a thing.
He's the Lesser Hulk, right? He is the Lesser Hulk.
Yeah,
For me, Quinn, I think if this is the only version of Hulk you've got, I think he's
you still
perfectly
make
fine.
it work.
I think he's perfectly fine. You know, I most definitely prefer the newer version of the Hulk. I just
Older,
think he does.
older,
Sorry, the
older.
older version of the Hulk. I just think he does everything slightly better. You know, I just think he is a better version all round. For me, Quinn, I still think he's perfectly serviceable. I'd probably
Yeah,
put him.
I think I'm less likely to play him than Danny Rand.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
probably right. I think you're probably right. And that 7 threat does hurt because all of a sudden then you've got an 11 threat with 2 characters, which,
yeah.
isn't really leaving you with much in the way of options, is it? I'd much rather have, let's say you're on a 15, let's say you're on a gamma, perfect for these guys. I would much rather be taking, rather than him, and them two with another 4 threat, I'd rather be taking Hulk and a 5 threat, like a Strange
Yeah.
or an ASM. I
Like
think that is
Daredevil, Hulk, Strange, like either iteration, I'd lean towards OG. It's pretty grim.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a much much better option. But again, still perfectly serviceable. I think you can still do some work with him. Just for us, not the optimized. Quinn, a character, it feels like it has. Oh, go on, sorry. And B is for
bitter rivals, because he was part of a rivals panel, and you don't believe me, and I'm bitter about it.
You are bitter, aren't you? Quinn, next up, a character that I feel like we haven't spoke about for the longest of times.
Yeah.
Feels like she's fallen down, down by the wayside a little bit. It is obviously Brunhilde, Valkyrie, 3 threat. She's got a strike, which is a decent enough builder. Dragonfang with a flurry on there, which is, really does benefit from. She's got a terrain and enemy character throw. Well, size 2, but again, that's fine. She has a charge.
A charge that she can always do.
She has Warrior of Legend.
Yeah.
So for each crit and wild that she rolls, she gets to turn another die into another success. And she has Guardian, so she gets extra power. She does a lot of work.
I think she's like the peak of what Daredevil wants, to be honest.
I agree, Quinn. I think she is absolutely the type of character that Daredevil wants. And I think, Quinn, we could see a resurgence under him with her. Yeah. Like, I mean, again, another character that if you can get 1 power onto her and let her do an Asgardian might is really good. But even without that, being able to do her charge turn 1 is very, very nice, isn't it?
I think, we're coming to the end of 2023. And like, in the beginning of 2023, I played a lot of Valkyrie because Asgard was kind of like my pet project. I think 2024 is going to be the year of the Valkyrie, to be honest.
You think?
We're going to get new Asgardians. Defenders are having a glow up. Like, I think you're going to see her a lot more than you have been the past couple of years.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think they're going to do some really good work. I think she's going to do some really good work. And yeah, we already know Asgard are going to get some new leaders, or at least one new leader, some new characters. I really like Quinn. I'm seriously thinking about putting her just under Hulk.
I'm very much considering that as well. To be honest, I think if we're putting her there is one other concession I'd like to make. I would like if we are doing that.
Okay.
And that's bumping up Luke. Because I think those two are very much on par with each other. And I think they could both be deserving of that S tier, actually.
There is one other character, Quinn, coming up.
I don't think that particular character goes into S, to be honest.
So I'm happy with this. We do that,
like, and we have it so that Valkyrie and Luke are pretty much interchangeable. But I think those are like the 3 you are going to see in every Daredevil roster.
Yeah, I do feel like
you're going to see at least 2 of them in the majority of games you play against Daredevil.
16 threat, Quinn. That's a pretty good 16 threat list right there, isn't it?
There, yeah.
Some protection in there as well. Yeah, it's real good. It's real good.
And S is for Sequel Fallen.
Well. Can I have an S for Carl Lucas first, please?
Skin that's bulletproof.
Okay. Not commonly referred to as bulletproof skin, but there we go.
No, it's skin that's bulletproof. Bulletproof skin is a completely different thing.
And the S for Valkyrie is
Seeker of the Fallen, which is, the role the Valkyries fulfill in Norse mythology.
Very nice. James Logan Howlett, Wolverine, a character we have spoke a lot about, Quinn, of late. Huge resurgence for him.
Yeah.
Wants to be up close and personal. Really, the only thing he doesn't have is rerolls on his offensive. I think he's really good. It feels to me, Quinn, defenders under Murdock, because you've got those three threats who are just so good, and you've got Hulk who you want to try and take wherever possible. I feel like one of their biggest problems is going to be, where do you fit a fourth threat in?
Yeah.
And so, because at 16, let's say, for example, you're not taking Hulk and Matt Murdock and then a 4 and a 2. You're taking the 2 3s.
Yeah.
At 17, yes, you might take... That's maybe where it comes into play, is 17 threat. And Wolverine probably is the best of the 4s in defenders. But I just think a lot of the maps that you want to take as defenders are not 17 threat maps. They're 16,
I guess you're
15,
kind of relying on
19.
your opponent's extracts being those kind of threat values.
You are, yeah, you are. And is 17 the most common now still? I think it still is,
I believe it still is, but I think it's quite close to, I want to say 15 in terms of... It's 15 and 19 that I think sort of sandwich it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just don't feel like you're going to get a huge opportunity to play for other 4 threats. But if you are going to play a 4 threat, Quinn, and you do want an extra 4 threat in your list, which I would always recommend, right? I'd recommend having at least 2 4 threats in any roster.
Yeah.
He is probably the one for me that goes in there. I
think so,
yeah. He's the best at what he does.
What he does isn't very nice.
And what he does is not very nice.
As you have learned repeatedly.
Indeed. Rerolls to get some extra wilds off is never a bad thing with Logan. He likes them rerolls, doesn't he? And he just does a really, really good job. I'm going to say it again, Quinn. I think for me, he just pierces himself between the 2 strangers.
I see what you did there. And I approve.
Yeah, for me, he's probably around about here.
Honestly, I'd argue bumping him above Supreme, just because I think once again you're more likely to play him.
That's fair. I am A-okay with that. I am A-okay with that. A is for
advanced R&D, because I think that's something that Daredevil teams will genuinely be bringing a lot of the time.
Yep.
Because I do agree. I'm not wrong in saying that Daredevil has power gen off his baton hook now, right?
Daredevil does have power gen off his baton hook, I believe. Let me double check. No, he doesn't.
That's a shame. If he had, then, walk up, baton hook someone, R&D would have been quite nice. Maybe you take it slow with Hulk and R&D some power out. You get Valkyrie a throw guaranteed. You get Logan his charge. Something along those lines I think would be quite helpful. But yeah, I thought I'd bring up R&D in this little section. I could have gone for Adamantium Skeleton or Adamantium Slash. But I think it's an interesting...
Animalistic instincts as well you could have had. Because he's very much an animal, isn't he?
All humans are animals.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Rounding out the list then, Quinn, is Wongers.
Wongers!
The only member of Convocation who did get a bump on his physical defense up to 3. I quite like Wong.
Yeah.
I think he's the only in affiliation 2 threat. He
works with both strangers now, which is nice.
He does work with both strangers, which is very good. Speaking of giving out power, Quinn, he has the ability, to be able to do that. He can only do it. Oh no, he can do it twice.
Not on turn 1.
No, because he can.
He can meditate twice.
He
but
can
that
meditate.
Him on 3.
Oh yes, good point. Oh, because it costs 2. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, arguably, you meditate twice with him and just R&D
and use advanced R&D.
Yeah, I don't mind. I know you said that you're unlikely to take like the 4 and the 2 over the 2 3s.
There's always times where there's always times.
Daredevil, Hulk, Wolverine, Wong. Like, keeps conditions off of Hulk and Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He,
No,
he,
it
he
feels
does a
it feels
job.
good. He does a job, indeed. He does a job, and he can be that back point holder that's still
Yeah.
doing some stuff as well, but isn't using his attack, so therefore isn't reliant on the rerolls from Daredevil, right? So it's kind of like, he's just a good back point holder, I feel. And if you are taking a Strange there as well, if you do have I don't know what threat it would be, 7, 11, 18 threat, doesn't feel great taking Hulk, Strange, him, and Daredevil. But it could
You can do
work.
it at 17, right?
6 up to 8 up to 12, 17 actually, yeah. Yeah, 17 would give you a Strange, a Wong, a Hulk, and a Daredevil. I don't mind that actually, Quinn. I don't mind that at all. He's the only unaffiliated 3, which means
2, but yeah.
Sorry, 2 threat even, which gives him some extra value as well. And I don't think really in Defenders you're really looking for an out of affiliation 2 threat. The only one who's really going to benefit hugely from the leadership is probably Nebula, because of those rerolls, and I just don't think she fits with what they're looking to do, because she can't contain. You're going to have to score points, whilst you're doing this. So I think Wong's a pretty decent, solid choice.
Yeah, I think he's a fair shout.
I think he's B
as
tier.
an in-affiliation pick.
Yeah, I think for me, he probably goes just below Moon Knight.
I think I'd bump him to bottom of A.
Yeah,
like he's just a solid choice.
I am perfectly fine with that, Quinn. Perfectly fine with that. I think he is a solid choice. Wow, look at us. We've changed as human beings. Look at us giving Wong an A.
I feel like the AMG mind control program has finally paid off.
Nothing will get clear out of a D.
No. Well, no, a buff would.
A buff would. Yeah, a new card. But there we go, guys. That is our breakdown of all things, or at least all characters, under Matt Murdock's leadership.
And just because I know it's going to annoy people if I don't do it,
give me an A.
A is for Arcane Attendant.
Oh, I thought you were going to go assistant.
No.
But Arcane Attendant, I do like that. I do like that indeed. There we go, guys. That's our breakdown. Let us know down in the comment section what you think. I'm actually really excited, Quinn, to play some Defenders under Daredevil. I think they've got a lot of good stuff going for them.
Personally, I'm going to be holding out just a little while longer. I'm hoping that cards. We get some real good stuff in that Shang-Chi Sable box.
But we do know we're getting 2 new characters, don't we, for them?
Yeah. They both have to be Defenders, and I'm hoping that particular character pack is just filled with cards.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because we do need them.
Yeah.
We absolutely do need them. But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you think. Big shout out to all of our Patreons. Thank you for supporting us. And you can also help support the channel by heading over to Patreon and supporting us for as little as £1 a month. If you don't want to do that, or if you don't have the funds to do that, you can also support the channel just by hitting that subscribe button, making sure you leave a like, sharing the content, and also leaving a comment as well. It really, really does help. Head over onto the Discord as well. Almost 1,000 people over there. We talk all things MCP, all things Shatterpoint, plus a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And lastly, what was the last one, Quinn? I can never remember what the last one is.
Do we have a last one? Did you do the Discord?
I did the Discord, yeah. I don't know what the last one is.
You got a competition going?
No competition at the moment. No.
Bugle painting contest.
We got the Bugle painting contest, yeah. Make sure you go check that one out as well. But yeah, that's probably it. So, as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.
Goodbye.
What a lovely sound.